Diversity spent about $2 million rehabbing the Jordan River this past year. The River Jordan is famous for many reasons, but mostly for its significance in the Christian religion, as being the place Jesus Christ was baptized and declared the Son of God. However, recently there has been a terrifying change in the state of the river. Jordan is drying up, and with less water, scientists are making discoveries and speculations have risen about what this event signifies, what discoveries were made, and what do they represent. Stay with us till the end of the video to find out. Before we dive deep into why the Jordan River is drying up, let's take a look at the history, background, and importance of this river. River Jordan is a familiar sight for Christian pilgrims and tourists. It is located at the border between Jordan, the western bank of Palestine, Israel, and southwestern Syria, where it flows. Taking a closer look at the river being a source to numerous tributaries, the River Jordan flow rises on Mount Hermon, located on the border of Syria and Lebanon, then continues to flow north, south of Israel and West Jordan, finally ending at the Dead Sea. The Jordan River has a length of 200 kilometers from its source to the Dead Sea, although when in a strong winding motion, it is overall about 360 kilometers. It is not popularly known, but the Jordan River has three sources that rise at the foot of Mount Hermon and join together in the Hula Valley of Israel. The names of the river sources are Hasbani, Hasbaya, and the Banyas rivers. This location would later lead to the cause of the river drying up and surrounding areas experiencing flooding. River Jordan's plains have a width of about 24 kilometers. Gua, the acid terraces, form a maze of ravines that are designed to look like a lunar landscape. Also, in the Hula Valley, River Jordan takes up a space of about 60 meters deep and between 400 to 3,000 meters wide. The floodplains of Jordan, known as the Zur, were once known to have been covered with tamarisk, willows, poplars, and other natural adornments, until Zur was converted into an irrigation dam to control the river's flow. Despite the fact that Hula's valley plateaus receive abundant rainfall, the Jordan Valley itself does not have a share in this advantage. The symbolism of the River Jordan to both Jews and Christians can mostly be only linked to spirituality. Jordan is mostly referenced as the glorious end of a tunnel, the reward after long suffering and tribulations. It signifies a resting place of peace, abundance, freedom, and deliverance. The Israelites' long-term wanderings, trials, and tribulations ended, and a new form of freedom was paved ahead of them. In Judaism, one of the holy four mentioned rivers is Torah, another name for Jordan. It is believed that the Holy Spirit resides in the waters. The Jordan River is not only sacred to Christians, but also to believers in Judaism. Many Jews, with the backup of the Old Testament, have a reason to believe it is a place where signs, wonders, and miracles take place. After all, there are several mentions of the River Jordan in the Holy Book. For Christians, it serves as a medium where the heavenly beings visit, especially for healing. For them, it is a place of connection from God to man. For the Jews, on the other hand, it is important because it is where the Israelites crossed to get to the Promised Land. To date, despite the occurrence, it has held many's faith as an assurance of hope, healing, and God's blessings. Believers worldwide go on pilgrims to visit and dip themselves in the Jordan River to receive healing and blessings and even encounter God because of the extraordinary event when the Old Testament prophet Elijah rode up by a chariot of fire to heaven. Jesus' cloak is believed to have miraculously fallen into the river. The symbolism has since been one of the reasons its water has been used to heal the needy and the sick. This is mostly frowned upon by Israeli environmental researchers because, according to their research, the River Jordan, unfortunately, is polluted. This is because of the untreated sewage pumped into the river from Israel, the West Bank of Palestine, and Jordan. The river drying up is caused by most of the water being diverted for domestic and agricultural use. The only thing that could possibly save the river has more water in it, possibly from the Sea of Galilee and Yarmouk River, Jordan's largest tributary. However, the Israeli government denies this research claim and insists that the river is a safe visiting site for pilgrims, baptism, and healing ceremonies. Did agricultural activities cause change in the state of the river? 2012 was the beginning of added pressure on Jordan's resources. This was due to the hosting of Syrian refugees in the state. The additional population led to an inevitably increased demand and use of water. This led to the Water and Irrigation Ministry's redirection and advancement of water irrigation. The new phase of developing and managing the water supply was the Water for Life Master Plan. The Jordan River was being diverted mainly by the Israeli national water carrier, by draining water from the Sea of Galilee and through various dams in Syria and canals in Jordan, which have been successful so far. From agricultural activities and poor maintenance, the damage done to the river is far soaring more than average. There has been a constant, unstoppable flow of saline water, sewage, and untreated wastewater into the river. Compared to its glorious beginning, the river's state is in ruins, which might be irreversible if not properly treated. Most of the locally generated wastewater does not undergo the treatment process and is left to be absorbed by the soil surrounding the river. In practice and theory, the water use in Jordan's river basin needs to be more developed. Despite Syria and Palestine's unlawful use of Jordan's water, Israel remains the largest user of this water body. According to 2016's Food and Agricultural Organization statistics, Jordan's total agricultural applied water productivity was 194 m3t, while Israel's statistics were 267 m3t. The state uses about 580 and 640 mcm of water annually, with insufficient means for the river's maintenance. Unsurprisingly, the quality and quantity of Jordan's river have reduced drastically over the years. In the water, there is a constant flow of agricultural waste products, washed-off plant remains, seepage, and a salty water surface. The most extreme case of pollution is at the river's basin, where there is saline water leakage from below, which is said by environmentalists to be the leading cause of the Dead Sea decline. Over the past years, Jordan's received about 600 mmscm annually from the Sea of Galilee and 470 mmscm from the Yarmouk River. The water deposited from the Jordan River into the Dead Sea is about 1,200 to 1,300 mmscm per year. Since Jordan's basin water diversion and pollution, it is only natural for the quantity of water in the Dead Sea to diminish. Around Jordan's Valley, the area is characterized by several climate and physical conditions that allow for productive livestock farming and planting crops. Several portions of the land have been managed by farmers and used as cultivation fields for varieties of crops and plants. Due to the decrease in rainfall in this region, water diversion for agricultural purposes has played a negative role in the condition of Jordan's basin. As growth and development are achieved in the area, migration and industrialization have seemingly evolved in the valley. Over the years, several establishments of new communities and infrastructure, industrial facilities and warehouses, and the transformation of natural land into agricultural land. With the added population, dependency on the river basin for basic and industrial needs increased greatly. There has been excessive pumping of Jordan's water, which has caused groundwater reduction, as well as a decrease in the flow of natural springs. River Jordan, which once conveniently fed the Dead Sea with a fresh and constant flow of water, at about an amount of 1.3 billion cubic meters of clean and healthy water annually, now provides about 100 million cubic meters of sewage, dead plants, and agricultural remains filled with polluted water. As the water level drops, the Dead Sea water becomes saltier, increasing thicker by about 10 centimeters annually. The bottom of the sea has a huge mass of thickly layered salt and a sinking salty seabed that could, over time, lead to a major land hazard. Climate change is also an indirect cause of the increasing hazard. Long-term evaporation changes, SST, NIRAS, surface winds, and solar radiation are climate change's major contributions to the dryness and shrinking of the sea. Also, the decrease in rainfall and increased dryness warms the region around it, leading to a hotter Dead Sea and increased evaporation. The little water left is then a struggle among the living population in the area. If this continues, the Dead Sea will eventually disappear with no quick reversal solution. Why the change in color of the Dead Sea? Over the years, the Dead Sea has been managed by authorities in the hope that the increasing hazard would be stopped. However, something discovered recently has changed the whole story. a pool near the Dead Sea was reported to have turned red. How did this happen, and why did the color change? Many speculations have gone around regarding color change. Most strongly, many faith believers have claimed it is a reoccurring of the famous biblical turning of the sea into red. There have also been religious claims that it is a sign of the beginning of the apocalypse. Whatever the case might be, scientists and researchers ordered by the Jordanian Water Ministry are soon in the process of discovering the cause. In his recent press release, the head of the Jordanian Geologist Syndicate, Sakra al-Nusor, stated that he believes the explanation for the color change is the presence of algae and iron oxide in the water. Or he also stated that substances by humans changing the water's color can be a contributing factor. Also, the head of the Water and Agriculture Committee of the Al-Quran Council, Fadi al-Huwamal, stated in a report that lagoons isolated from freshwater tend to change color. In his theory, certain types of bacteria and red algae with salinity due to sunlight tend to change colors. However, there would be several cases worldwide if this were to be the case. Something else could have contributed to the color change. Later, after the press release, officials reported that the presence of iron oxide in the water could account for the strange color change, although the rapid change or iron oxide's presence in the pool could not be explained. As this is not the first, but the second time in 2 years that this has occurred, there is only much to be said about curiosity and anxiousness among the locals. So far, authorities have yet to determine the major cause of the color change. In 1980, after a particularly rainy winter day, the Dead Sea, to the shock of many, changed from its usual blue to the color red. After various research from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, the results report stated that the reason for the color change is from an algae called Dun Aliella. The increasing number of sinkholes in the Dead Sea only makes matters worse. The dissolution process the sea underground is going through would only increase the hazardous effect of the sinkhole. The infrastructure, vegetation, and agriculture are all at risk of sudden collapse. The sinkholes are most present in the western and eastern parts of the lake and are the reason for a large amount of salty, cracked, and dry areas in the region. These salt bodies, in earlier decades, were the awe and excitement of many tourists. The beautiful and relaxing place was the major attraction of Jordan to the rest of the world. However, the sudden opening and breaking of holes, grounds, and around bank areas have become an increasing danger to human lives. Many warning signs have been placed in the once safe and relaxing location to warn visitors of the unpredictable hazards. The sinkholes have been slowly forming since the 1970s. They were noticed by scientists and researchers, but as of then, were long-term hazardous. Recently, the period of sea shrinkage has increased more than ever. Overuse and overmining of mineral resources in the sea have fortunately been put on hold to address the increasing danger. A geologist of Israel's Dead Sea, Eli Raz, who studied the issues surrounding the sinkhole, discovered that many craters have formed along seismic fault lines in the Jordan Rift Valley. The fault lines' dissolved salts are more problematic because they are mobile, and through movement might join with the freshwater. Activities and proposals have been carried out by the Jordanian government to fend off or, as a trial, reverse the effects of these sinkholes. The most widely spread preventive measure is building canals that would run from the Red Sea to the Dead Sea. Also, Israel and Palestine, in turn, would contribute saltwater to the Dead Sea to generate energy and supply their own electricity. Let's talk about some of the drying sea's discoveries. As earlier mentioned, the Dead Sea is shrinking. However, what was not mentioned are the scary, bone-chilling discoveries found in the drying water body. A new set of scrolls have been found in the Dead Sea, its source dating back centuries ago. These ancient texts of biblical fragments could be traced as far back as 2,000 years ago during the Jews' revolt against the Romans. The scroll details the book of the 12 minor prophets, including Zechariah. How it kept safe all this while is so much more of a mystery. Also, among the recovered texts, verses from the biblical book of Nahum 1, verses 5 to 6, were found written, though with a slight language change, signifying the evolution that took place after. An interesting piece of information is that the first set of the Dead Sea Scrolls was found in the same area in 1947 by a Bedouin shepherd. Another extraordinary yet chilling discovery is the remains of a child's semi-mummified body dated about 6,000 years. From a CT scan, the child is stated to be between the age of 6 to 12, and the remaining skin, tendons, and hair had been partially preserved. Alongside the skeleton, the world's oldest found basket was found. Researchers claim that the basket is about 10,500 years old. Other found items in the Dead Sea include a cache of coins with inscribed Jewish symbols on them. Other items are a harp, a date palm, arrowheads and spearheads, woven fabric, sandals, and lice combs. According to reports, they could all be traced back to the end of the Bar Kokhba revolt in 132 to 136 AD, when the Jews fought against Roman rule in Judea. These treasures were found in the Cave of Horror in Judea after it was excavated in the 1960s. Due to the dry condition and low rainfall, they were reported to be in good condition when they were found. Years ago, scientists discovered evidence deep below the Dead Sea bed. There was evidence of severe droughts that took place 10,000 years ago, and, in a recent report, might be longer than that. From reports, scientists believe that these findings are a warning of what is to come if our climate is any time similar to what happened back then. After testing the found long salt cores that were extracted from the Dead Sea, it was discovered that significant parts of the core were made of salt, showing the level where the Dead Sea had shrunk and the periods of drought in the sea's basin drain. From the analysis results, the cores were dated as far back as the last interglacial period, 115,000 to 130,000 years ago. Finally, from the reports of a 2011 discovery, this is not the first time the Dead Sea has witnessed an almost total drying up. At a point, the sea had shrunk almost to a point of no reversal. A core of about 450 meters long was drilled. It had a 45-meter-long salt-covered area and was told by several pebbles forming a layer. From a naked eye's view, it could easily be observed that it had formed as far back as centuries ago. When research results were obtained, it was discovered to be about 250,000 years old. The research also disclosed an awaiting drier and warmer period in the sea region. If climate change persists, there will be little to no available water and mineral resources. The remains of the Dead Sea would be sewage and agricultural remnants. There might still be little hope for the recovery of the drying Dead Sea. Serious recovery measures have been put in place to ensure the sea is not lost to man-caused and climate change decline. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on your point of view, these discoveries have become an addition to the few solved mysteries of the universe. More is to be unfolded. Can the waiting hazard be slowed with the government's efforts? What can you think of these terrifying discoveries? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Remember to like, send, subscribe, and click the notification button to get updates on new videos. Music.